everyone, my name is Matt, or Metabulous, and I'm a 15-year-old indie game developer. This is episode 1, and this is being recorded on Monday, the 28th of January 2019. This is the Indie Dev Chat. I'm here with Blackthornprod, who has created masterpieces such as Evolution, The Fire of Belief, and He Almost Killed Me. Hello,
Hey,
Blackthornprod.
hey, hey, it's cool to be here.
Yeah. Okay, so, tell us about what you do for those who aren't aware of your work.
Well, I do a few things. Mostly, what I do is I make games. For now, very small games, mostly during game jams and stuff. And I also run a YouTube channel called Blackthornprod, where I make tutorials on how to make games. And I also do sort of devlog videos where I, show to others how I make my own games. Sort of like document my whole process and in the hope they'll inspire others.
Hmm. So, when did you start game development?
Uh, I started I started game dev a bit more than 2 years ago now.
Hmm.
Before that, I was doing sort of like I was using Maya to make little animated movies. I was really into like the animation scene. I wanted to work at Pixar and stuff. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I sort of like realized that I liked playing games more, and
Hmm.
that's when I discovered Unity. No, actually, first of all, I discovered Constructs 2. That's when I was roughly 15 years old, and I
Yeah.
made a few small, like very simple games using that engine. But then I very quickly transitioned to Unity, and so basically, yeah, it's in I think October of 2016 that I made my very first game with my brother Liam. I did all the arts and animation, and he did all the programming. And yeah, obviously, we brought everything together inside of Unity, which is an amazing game engine for those who don't know. And so yeah, that's when I started. I started 2 years ago by making my first small game with my brother.
Cool. So, what are you currently working on?
Currently, I'm working on a larger game project. It's a sort of a puzzle platformer game. I don't have an actual name for it yet, but yeah, that's basically what I'm working on. I'm trying to make something bigger. I'm so used to doing very small games again during game jams, which are basically game creation like events where people are tasked, like developers all around the world are tasked to make a small game. Uh, Usually between 2 and 3 days they have, and around a given theme. And so I'm trying to sort of get out of my comfort zone by making something larger, a bigger game, with more time and more care put into it. So yeah, that's basically what I'm working on right now. I'm also running a devlog on my YouTube channel, where I'm every week I'm talking about the progress I made on my game, the challenges I faced, all that sort of stuff. It's really a great way for me to kind of stay motivated because I know I've got 1 week to make progress, to show it in the devlog. So yeah, I force myself in a way to work on my game and not like just give up on it, which has happened before. But yeah, for now I'm pretty happy with this game. So hopefully I'll finish it.
Yeah, because I'm also doing a devlog, so like I sort of have the same thing with you. Like, obviously, you don't want to let everyone down, and you
Yeah,
also want to get a lot of progress done as well. So yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it really by making a devlog, you've sort of made yourself accountable.
Hmm.
You need to work on it. If not, like it's going to be a public thing, and you're going to be a lot less likely to just give up on it nice and quietly. You're If you give up on it, everybody's going to know. So you're less
Yeah.
likely to do so for sure.
Yeah, because it's quite helpful actually. Because like
Oh, it really is. Yeah. No, it really is. It's a great thing to do. It's obviously I started mines after I had worked on my game for about a month already.
hmm.
So I kind of knew that I liked the project, I liked the idea, and I wanted to expand on it. But yeah, it's really great for me to continue making that progress because when you reach like a certain point, and there I think I'm kind of reaching the middle of development. I think no, maybe not the middle, but I'm reaching a point where there's so much I've done already, and I feel like all of it can be improved. And at the same time, I'm seeing all of this still left to do, and it's kind of like that point where I would usually give up because it becomes daunting. But thanks
Mhm.
to this devlog, thanks to this community and all the positive feedback I've been getting, it's really, yeah, it definitely helps. So it's a good move. I really recommend that developers start devlogs. It can help with motivation. It can,
Marketing
and
as
again,
well.
yeah, all that feedback that you get can really help you improve your project for sure.
So, what games are you excited for like this year?
Ah, oh, good question. From the top of my head, straight away, Spelunky 2. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if you're
Yeah.
familiar with
Yeah,
the
I'm
first
also excited
Spelunky.
for that. Yeah.
Oh, it's an amazing.
It
I
is a really
poured.
good game.
That's the game I poured the most time into. I've poured 200 hours in the first Spelunky. I'm obsessed
It
with
is a
that game,
great
and
game.
oh, it's so good. I must have played about 100 hours on my own, and then the other 100 hours was me just playing with my brother and friend. They would just come over. We would play deathmatch mode or play the adventure mode, and we're in love with that game. So yeah, Spelunky 2 is definitely a very anticipated project game. Afterwards, there's another really nice looking game. I'm not sure if you're gonna hear about if you've heard of it. It's called Tunic. It's about a
Mhm.
little
I
fox
think I've heard of that. Yeah.
it's like a kind of a Zelda-like game
Yeah.
in 3D, to isometric view. It looks really beautiful, and it's made by one guy. So obviously, all games that have been made by only one or a few developers always really inspire me because I
Mhm.
kind of relate to that. I feel like if they did it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
I definitely really enjoy playing those type of games. What else? Let me think. Oh yeah, Baba is You.
Oh yeah.
It's a.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know that one? It's kind of a funny game where
I think I've heard of it, but
you're basically you're changing the rules by moving little blocks around. So basically you can do like wall is invisible and suddenly all the walls become invisible, or it's hard to describe it. It's really nice. People can play a demo actually of it online on itch.io, so yeah, I recommend you check it out. It's
hmm,
really ingenious.
I have to check that one
and
out.
and lastly, oh yeah, Sekiro Dies Twice looks really cool. It's
Can't
a
say I've
basic. I
actually
don't know
heard
if you
that.
know From Software. They created the Dark Souls series,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and basically, yeah, they're going to release their new game. I believe in, I think it's March. So
Wow.
yeah, that's another one of my anticipated games. How about you?
Uh. Hmm. I don't actually know because there's not a lot that's coming like
Well,
this year.
obviously there's the new Blackthornprod game coming.
Oh
That's
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, obviously,
uh. Is it Cyberpunk? That looked alright. I think there was some
Oh, is that the new
leaks.
game by the creators of The Witcher? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Huh, that could be really cool. I really enjoyed the Witcher 3.
Yeah. The Witcher series is really good,
Oh, it's fantastic. I love all that sort of fantasy universe.
especially
I'm
open
less,
world. It's like
yeah, exactly. I'm less on the sci-fi side, so I might not enjoy Cyberpunk as much, but I'll definitely
yeah. I
give it
see
a
what you
go as
mean.
well.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, I've not really looked that far, but I hope. I believe that in 5 years, um, so one thing for sure is that I want to stay independent. That I really
Yeah, yeah,
love just working on my own terms.
yeah. Because then you don't have
Just
anything to like hold you back.
exactly. Yeah, I really can't imagine, especially after having tasted like this sort of freedom of just creating my whatever game I want or whatever video I want. I can't
Mhm.
really imagine working in a large company or like working underneath someone who's telling me what to do, what to create. So yeah,
Yeah.
in 5 years, I really hope that I'll still be independent, doing things I like doing like creating things that really mean something to me. Um, so yeah, that's one thing for sure. Afterwards, I would love that in 5 years I've made at least one good like commercial game. Um, Basically, I want to have earn enough money to continue making games. As for now, I'm doing well with YouTube and with my first Udemy course that I release,
Mhm.
which is basically a cool platform of being able to release a set of tutorials and stuff. but yeah, I would like to be able to earn some money with games because ultimately that's really what I love doing most is creating games. And currently, none of my games, all my games are free,
Yeah,
so I've
exactly.
not earned a
Yeah.
penny with those. But yeah, I think that's more or less what I my vision for in 5 years.
I mean, it's a
Nothing
quite a hard
concrete.
question, isn't it?
It's hard, yeah, yeah. Nothing really concrete. It's just that I'm so happy doing what I'm doing now. I've
Mm.
kind of not been looking really too far ahead. I'm just kind of taking one step at a time, building my channel, building my game dev skills. But yeah, really, if I can just continue doing what I'm doing in 5 years, I'll be happy. I'll be really happy. Obviously, I want to create better and better stuff, better and better games. Um, but yeah, really, I'm good if yeah, in 5 years if I'm like this, it's cool. But just upgraded, an upgraded version of Blackthorn Pros. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Uh, hmm. What was the first game that you made?
Um, so yeah, the first game I made was on paper. Usually on paper when I was like 8 or even when I was 6 years old, I was just making up little games on paper and stuff. But my first digital game was using Constructs 2. I don't actually remember the name of the game, but it was basically a Space Invader clone. A Space
I
Invader
think that was
clone.
one of my first as well. Yeah.
Yes, that was my very first game, and the art was absolutely horrible. It was terrible. I didn't have a drawing tablet at the time, so I used my mouse,
Oh.
which was it looked pretty bad. But I always look back at those sort of screenshots. You kind of like with pride, because I say, "Oh man, I've improved so much since then," which is always nice.
Mm.
But my first game with Unity, as I said, was Midnight Fire. That was like a
Yeah.
little isometric top-down shooter game, and I made that with my brother. He was doing all the programming because at one point I didn't want anything to do with programming. I just wanted to focus on art, animation, like the story, the game's design and stuff. And programming really scared me, which is why I started with Constructs 2, because you could make a whole game
Yeah.
just with a sort of drag and drop interface, which I found really cool. But at the time I was really wanting to make 3D games, and Constructs 2 you can only do 2D stuff, um, which is why I transitioned to Unity. But I realized, yeah, you need to be able to program in C sharp to be able to make games. Thankfully, my brother Liam, who was really interested in web development, meaning he was quite good at coding, and yeah, he was willing to help me out on my game. And so yeah, that's how we got together and made Midnight Fire. But after Midnight Fire, like every month almost, I started and completed a little game. I'm after released Color Shooter with my brother again, but then he stopped game dev. He sort of like lost a bit interest. He was getting busy with school and stuff, and so I was left alone again, and I didn't know how to program whatsoever. So I had to go through that daunting task of looking at tutorials online and trying to learn how to program. It was really frustrating, really hard, but in the end, I was able to make my first game completely on my own with Unity, and that was Raining Apocalypse. It's a really
Oh
simple game, basically, where you control a little soldier that moves left and right, and that has to dodge like hazards that fall from the sky. But I was so proud to have finished that game and have coded everything from scratch. It felt really great. But it was tough. But now programming is really not something I worry too much about anymore because I'm really good at searching online for my
yeah. Any
like if I face
solutions?
yeah, if I face a
Because I think
problem,
at the start you don't know what to search, so you just search like
yeah,
really broadly. But like
of
as you
course,
start understanding, it's you can start
exactly,
searching
yeah,
specific bits.
yeah. It's really a skill, knowing how to search like for solutions or
Mhm.
go in forums and ask the right questions and stuff. That's a skill you acquire, and it's a really it's a key one. Yeah, I remember there was a time where I was thinking there was kind of like cheating for some reason if you searched online for your solutions, which is silly, really, of course, because that's
Yeah,
like a
I
big
see
part
what you
of being
mean
a
though,
good
because like
programmer. Yeah, in a way. And I remember my brother, because he's sort of saying, "Oh, you're cheating again." No, you're looking online for the solutions. But of course, it's not at all the case. It's a great skill to have to be able to just go online or ask for help and search for your solutions. It's and I do that even now, even when I'm making my own tutorials. First of all, I search online for the best methods to do something, and then I kind of rephrase it, or I try to add my own twist to it. But yeah, being able to search online for your solutions is key. And of course, you have to know how to implement what you find online into your own project. And that was like another big part of the challenge. I remember I
Mm.
wanted the character to be able to move left and right, but then I wanted him to be able to do it in 2D also, and I wanted him to be able to wrap around the screen. So he like goes off screen on the left and he comes back out on the right.
Yeah.
And so you don't really, it's hard to find a complete
Yes,
script
you have to
showing you how
like
to do that.
sort of find bits from
Yeah, yeah,
everything,
exactly. You have to
combine
find
them,
little bits and bobs all over the internet and kind of like merge that all together.
and then
So
eventually you
yeah,
find a bug, and you're like, oh.
yeah. Oh shit. But yeah, it's something you just learn. Me, it took me a very long time to get over my sort of programming phobia in a way.
Mm.
But once you overcome that obstacle, it feels great, and I really enjoy programming now. It's not my main passion, but it's definitely something I enjoy, especially gameplay programming and like programming my little enemy and then seeing him run after the player and stuff. It's always really a magic feeling.
Okay, so what helps you or helps you to overcome like burnout, and what kept you motivated?
Ah, yeah, burnout is something I'm having a few problems with lately, especially,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've not really had that problem. 'Cause again,
It usually
I'm a
comes in
beginner.
like stages. Like you'll have.
It comes in stages, yeah. Me again, like I'm a complete beginner in game dev. I'm in no way like like I'm just starting my journey as well. At least that's how I feel. I've just been making games for 2 years, like seriously trying to make games for 2 years. And until quite recently, I've not really faced much burnout. I've been always like motivated and really hungry to keep on learning, keep on creating. But yeah, after moments like a few months ago, I had school. I was still in high school, and I had these like final exams I had to do, and I was
Mhm.
trying to make at least 2 videos every week for my channel. Plus, I was trying to make games. I was like participating in this thing called the weekly game jam, where I was making a
Oh
game
yeah.
every single week. So yeah, there was the exams, there was my YouTube channel, there was me trying to make a game for game jams, and yeah, I just really felt I kind of like felt I was losing motivation,
Mhm.
or I was finding it very hard to concentrate. I was like often procrastinating, or I wasn't procrastinating. I was on Unity, but I didn't feel like I was making any progress. Like hours would pass, and I had hardly done anything. And then I realized
Yeah.
that yeah, basically I just needed a break. That's the key thing to overcome burnout is just take breaks. That's what I'm trying to do now. Already I've sort of slowed down the pace on YouTube. I'm doing one video every week instead of 2 videos every week. Like I'm releasing your one devlog, and that's another cool thing. Yeah, doing a devlog enables me to merge both YouTube and making games into kind of
Yeah.
one
So it
thing.
doesn't feel as much as what you would do, but
Yeah,
even though it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
same amount.
Of course, because before I was making tutorials and I was working on games, and they didn't really overlap. I had to work on the tutorials and then I had to work on the game. It was like two different things. Whereas these devlogs is kind of just an extension of my current game project, just a great way for me to make plans and gain feedback and do a little retrospective of the previous week. So yeah, that's my number one tip anyway to avoid and overcome burnout is take breaks. It's so important because you might feel like you're losing time, and that's at least how I felt. Whenever I was taking, there was a point where I was taking like maybe a day off the computer. Then I really felt guilty for having done that. I said, I'm losing out on all this time. I could have been making a video. I could have been progressing, which is obviously really silly. It's so important to just take time off because in the long run, you're going to be gaining time anyway. Because when you're burnt out, you just lose time. You're not concentrated. You're not enjoying the process. So yeah, take breaks. It's important, and it feels good saying this because it's a good reminder. Because again, I'm living this like right now. Sometimes I feel very burnt out, and I just don't want to work on my game. For example,
Mm.
it happened. It happened like a week ago. I did a little tweet, and I'm sure if you saw it, where I
Yeah,
said like
I
I
think
just
I think I responded to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you did. Yeah, I felt completely uninspired for 2 days. I just didn't want to work at all. I didn't want to work at all, and I kind of forced myself to work, despite the fact that I really did not want to, and that was silly. I should have just taken those 2 days off, rested, and come back like really, energized and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, take breaks. That's the key.
Yeah. So now on to what is your weakest skill, like programming, art, etc. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think my weakest skill is programming. No, no, it's sounds. It's sounds and music. Because again, game dev is like it requires so many skills, especially if you're
Yeah, I
working
don't think people actually
completely on your
realize
own.
how much there is.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, in most big game companies,
You have
there's
like
one
teams for
guy.
it.
Yeah, there's one guy for the modeling, and there's one guy who's going to handle all the animation, and one is going to handle some programming.
Hmm.
Everybody does a small part of the process, but when you're like an indie game dev, which is what I'm trying to do and what I'm really enjoying, but yeah, obviously there's a lot of work involved because you have to wear so many hats in one day. You've got to do programming, um, especially if you're working alone like I am currently. So you have to do programming, you have to do music, art, design the game, think of the story. Even you'll do the marketing and that you'll kind of share your game, talk about it to make sure that when you do release it, there's going to be people playing it, which is another big job. Which and is partly why I started my channel in the first place. But yeah, music and sounds is the one thing I've not really got into. Uh, I've not really got into probably because I enjoy the process the least. Um, so yeah, music. I've made a few musics using a cool software called Bosca Kiol. I
Yeah.
always say that wrong, and then I get 20 comments saying so. But yeah, basically that's my the skill I'm the least good at. And then following up is programming. And these are probably I'm probably not very good at these because I don't enjoy these things as much as drawing or animating or making
Yeah.
up the story and rules of the game. Yeah, that's usually the case. The things you're the least good at are usually the things you enjoy the least. In my case, anyway, and especially for game dev.
Yeah.
And the things I enjoy doing the most are the things I do the most, and as a result, I'm really good at those things, or I'm better at those things anyway than the other stuff.
Yeah. Because for me, like my writing is what I like, and I seem to be really good at writing. And I
Yeah,
think that
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of like reflects on my programming in a way, because it's like I don't know how to explain it, but my
yeah.
programming
Well,
is roughly the same thing.
it's a tough technical writing in a way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Sure. Yeah, when you say writing, you mean like writing the story, or like
yeah. Writing the story. Yeah,
yeah, not programming. It's again, it's a thing I enjoy and I'm getting better at. But if I had to choose, yeah, one skill that I'm not very good at is programming, and yeah, of course, music and stuff. I'm happy I'm not really good at music. It's a good excuse to collaborate with other people and stuff. Because yeah, working on your own, it's great. You're like you've got a lot of freedom because you don't need to. Yeah, you can make all the choices on your own. You don't need to agree with anyone and stuff. But of course, on the flip side, it's quite lonely, and there's not as much fun as when you're working in a team or with at least just one other person. So yeah, I'm glad at least I can collaborate with other musicians, other people for that thing, for that site.
all right. So, what is the funniest moment you've had within game development?
The funniest moments. Uh, well, game dev isn't usually too funny.
No, there's like parts that are.
But yeah, but at one point I developed this again for a weekly game jam. No, it was called the Music Game Jam. The theme basically was make a game around music. And so what I did is I made a game called Haha. It was a really weird, kind of immature game. But basically, those little animations being played on screen with a really weird, kind of old school, corny music in the background. and the goal was not to laugh. So you just had to stare at the screen and not smile or laugh. And I must say, I just laughed the whole time while developing that. It was, no, it was a hilarious development. It was amazing, and my mom or dad would just pass me by and they'd say, "Why are you laughing?" And it was just so hilarious. So yeah, that was definitely probably the funniest time I've had with game dev. It was such a funny game. I still laugh to every one of the characters I created and every single music that's being played in the background. It wasn't too. I don't think many people laughed, but I still laugh so much. It was so funny. So yeah, that was probably my funniest time. And recently, I made a game called Please Player,
Oh,
and
that
basically,
was.
it's you remember that one?
Yeah, I
It's
played that.
basically for those who don't know, it's a game where there's these little characters coming on screen, and you've got to click a big red button, and doing so destroys those characters. And it's just a test to see how far the player is willing to go to complete the game. And all these little characters are going to sort of yell at the player and plead with him not to press that red button.
Ah.
And I did all the voice acting for each one of those characters, and that too was really funny. I had a great time and really laughed doing so. I also I really pretended to be like a woman and a little baby and a monster. So yeah, that was really great. I really enjoy voice acting. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, what is the hardest moment you have had within game development?
The hardest moment is probably well, I've had a few hard moments. One of the hard moments, let me think, is probably finishing games. Long projects have been really tough to complete sometimes. I've made, for now, I would say two quite big projects. One of them is called The Fire of Belief, and that took me 3 months to complete, which isn't huge. Obviously, like some games they take 5 years or even 10 years to complete. But 3 months for me is the biggest. It's the longest I have ever spent on a game, and doing so is really hard. It's so hard to maintain motivation for on a single project for all that time. Obviously, there's loads of moments where I really felt very motivated, especially after my brother or some friends had playtested the game and I saw that they were enjoying it. But there's also times where I would say, "Oh, this is no good," or "I've got so many ideas that are so much better than this one. I'm just going to put this one on pause." Obviously, it's not good to do that. Really, if you're starting a project, I really recommend you just complete it from A to Z, even if it's hard and you're not enjoying it. Every single game project that you work on is going to you're going to reach that point at you're going to reach that stage where at one point you just lose motivation on it, and you've got to know how to kind of pass that point, because in the end, you really feel so great. Once I had finished that 3 month project, I just felt so good, and I really know that I progressed a lot as a developer. But yeah, it was tough. Finishing projects is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
YouTube has helped a lot with that though, because I've got this audience who are kind of pushing me to finish what I start. Because if I don't, there's a bit of a backlash. Why not finishing your game? And also, finishing a video every week of starting and finishing a video has really helped me, acquire that fundamental skill of finishing what I start and just not giving up on it. Um, Other than that, let me think of other hard moments I've faced with game dev. Yeah, burnout again. You're kind of just losing motivation because I'm just overworking.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I had my Discord server at one point that was hacked. That
Oh
was
yeah.
really bad. That was during the summer of this year. That was a silly mistake of my part for trusting the wrong people really, which was a good lesson learned. But yeah, every single member was banned except the managers, I think. Um, but since then, I've rebuilt the server, which is great. Another lesson: never to give up. Because at one point, I was like, I'm just gonna quit Discord. Let's just give up on Discord. It's taking too much time anyway. Sorry, it's taking too much time anyway. But yeah, good thing I didn't do that because I just am in love with this community I've got, and it's like so heartwarming to see all these people, thank me for my videos or ask for help and stuff. It's really nice. So yeah, those are my hardest moments so far.
Mhm. So, what is the best moment?
The best moment, well, it's finishing games. I think finishing
Yeah.
games It happens to be the hardest thing to do. Really, really great. It's a fulfilling experience. Also, one of my best moments was the Blackthornprod game jam that I did in
Mhm.
October.
Mhm.
I basically hosted my own game jam, and that was it's like so inspiring to see that all these games had been made because of my game jam. That was amazing. I love doing that. Also, recently I talked to Edmund McMillan, which is a I'm a huge fan of his work. For those who don't know, he's the creator of The Binding of Isaac and Super Meat Boy. And being able to talk to him was absolutely amazing. So that was definitely another highlight of my game dev journey so far. I've really had so many amazing times.
Yeah,
It's
it's
quite
quite
crazy.
hard
Also,
to
it's
sort of
really hard to
say the
pinpoint.
best. Yeah.
There's no one like best moments.
Mhm.
So many
Mhm.
moments are really great, but just in different ways. But yeah, I'm so happy I've started this YouTube channel, and I'm so happy that I'm able to do this like full time. It's really great. Sure, there's like some low points, like when you get burnt out, or you find it hard to gain motivation, or you're like your project is full of bugs and stuff. But all in all, this is like an amazing career that I'm sort of starting. It's really great.
Okay, so now I've got like a couple of scenarios. So
Oh, interesting.
so imagine you could never program ever again. What would you do?
Huh? If I could ever make games again, or just
Program.
um, well, I would still make a game. I would use Constructs 2 or some other software that's kind of got like a drag and drop interface.
Mhm.
That doesn't require like hardcore programming, like C sharp, which is the language I use in Unity. So yeah, I'd probably still make games just using a different tool, or even just make games on pen and paper, like board games and stuff, which I really enjoy doing, and that's how I still do it. I still make little card games, and sometimes I even think of like turning them digital, but I think they would be really hard to program, so I don't do that yet. Um, yeah, I think that's how I would do it. I'd still make games. I would just find different. Hello.
Oh, hello. Yeah, you cut out.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Sorry. Yeah. So that's what I would do if I really couldn't program anymore.
Okay. So you have to lose two skills you have acquired over your whole life. What would you lose?
Hmm. That's a. These are good questions. These are really good questions. Uh, it's hard to say. Like really good skills that I have, or kind of skills I've,
Over
like
your whole
half
life,
baked.
anything.
Anything. Mm. It's so hard to answer. I would say maybe the ability. I don't know. Let me think. Let me think. Mm, it's tough to say. I'm actually trying to think of the skills I have that are not game dev related. Um, ah, maybe cooking, and I would find somebody else to cook for me. um, and if I had to lose a game dev skill though, it would probably be programming.
Yeah,
There we go. Yeah,
that's fair enough.
programming.
Yeah.
That's how I would do. Yeah, because I could just use another software like Constructs 2 or find a programmer to help me out or something. Yeah, those are the two skills I would lose. There we go.
Okay. This is the final scenario.
Okay.
You are in a brand new world, right? And
Right?
there's no computers, and you have no memory of game development or any game thing,
Okay.
but you're allowed to take one skill with you. What would you take?
One skill with me. But I didn't know anything about game dev, yeah?
Mhm.
Um, mm, well, if I didn't know anything about game dev, that means I wouldn't want to make games, right? It's like something to do
Mhm.
entirely else. I wouldn't want to make game. Well, I really do enjoy writing. like of writing stories, and I'd want to write my own Game of Thrones or something. So yeah, maybe I'll take the skill to be able to write really good stories, or be able to draw, just simply like be able to draw and
Hmm.
yeah, create characters, create comic books and that sort of stuff. I think that's a skill I would keep. Yeah.
Hmm. That's quite a good skill actually, because it's like you can
Oh
use
yeah,
that
it's
for a lot
really.
of things. So.
Oh sure, yeah, yeah. It's like drawing or even writing. These are so many areas in life,
Hmm.
and it's the things I enjoy doing most too. So that's cool.
Okay, so thanks for joining me.
Oh, no problem, man. It was really nice talking to you. Actually, this is one of my first. This is my very first interview, so I'll remember it forever.
I hope you enjoyed yourself. And would you like to advertise anything?
Well, check out my YouTube channel if you're interested in game dev. It's called Blackthornprod. And yeah, there we go. That's really. If you're interested in making games or joining me on my journey, check out my channel. It's a cool place.
It is, yeah. Okay. Well, see you later.